I think.
You winging this one?
No, I don't want to wing it. Yeah, let's wing it.
Okay.
So we've been talking a lot about the work hard side of things. Let's delve into the play harder side of things, but still business related.
Okay.
Let's talk about the importance and significance of culture.
Okay.
And I think we can tie that into some other things here around where we're at.
Okay. Yeah. So we just did the Christmas party,
That was fun.
which is super important, I think, for the culture.
Yeah. All right. So that's what we're talking about here today, folks.
Are we recording? Okay.
We're gonna get right
All right.
into it.
Let me let our special guest in here.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
Snoop on a stoop. All right.
Gotta
He's going
have-
to be hanging out with us. He will behave himself. He promised me he's going to be on like Martha Stewart level today.
Yeah.
So he's all good.
Perfect. So culture is something that's super important to both of us. Not just culture. Let me also say intentional on purpose culture is something that is super important to both of us.
Yes.
At Indie Roof Company, we're building and we've already cultivated it, and we're continuing to build upon this culture of fun, of reward, of winning, and a few other things. But I think we'll probably dive into those three things here today. Maybe more specifically on the fun side of things.
Well, the fun side of things is, in my opinion, one of the most important things. Like, obviously, all of it's super important.
Right.
Because you can't have a fun side without a work hard side, which feeds the business. But it's one of those things that where I've been through, past jobs and different things, I didn't quite have the culture that I woke up and I was like, yeah, I want to go to work and, hang out with people and, talk to these people that I really enjoy being around and do these things that I really enjoy doing. And when you move from a culture that it's not quite your fit, to a culture that is, it's life-changing, really is life-changing. And like so much that the money is like a secondary concern. Like, obviously we want to make money and I want to make money, but I would have taken a substantial pay cut for my last job where I made multiple six figures. And like when I started Indie Roof Company, I was like, man, as long as I can sustain my lifestyle and, make some decent money, I don't even care because I enjoy what I do every day. It's funny. You hear the thing where people are like, oh, if you enjoy your job, you'll never work a day in your life. Right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, back then, I was like, who the fuck enjoys their job? Like movie stars, like they probably love their jobs. I'm like, other than that, who does? And then I started something that I really enjoyed doing. And I was like, oh, okay, so it is
This
possible.
can be that. Yeah, it's possible.
It is possible. And so, yeah, we've started building the culture based off of that. And,
That's cool. So did you, when you first started the company, it was just you, and then you started getting some teammates in. When did you really have this idea of not only do I want this for myself, but I've got to make sure that I pass this on to others and that it's alive and breathing within the organization as it grows?
Immediately, because if it wasn't there for everybody, it wouldn't be there for me.
Got it.
Right. It's like if the culture doesn't exist in the whole with every single person in the organization, then it's dead to you.
Right.
Is my thought on it. Like there's people that you have in that, maybe you missed out on the hiring, and those people that have negative attitudes and these different things are a cancer to everybody else. So it's really important to have not only the culture for the company, but to make sure that everybody feels that they're a part of that culture and shares, the thoughts and the ideas that you have for the company.
Yeah, that's one of the big keys about culture in making sure that it's intentional and on purpose is making sure that you are aligning yourself with like-minded individuals. It's really important that you're connected in a role, in a position, and at a company that aligns with who you are as an individual.
100%.
We were talking earlier, off air here, I guess would be the term, but of course, it's possible to be misaligned in. So I'm an extrovert.
Right.
I like talking to people. You like talking to people and all that kind of stuff. If you're an introvert, being a cruise director is probably not a good role for you. Maybe it fits the good company. Carnival Cruise Lines is a great employer or whatever.
Right.
And it's a cool job that you make good money at, but it just doesn't align with your personality and who you are.
Yeah.
That's going to be draining and taxing. And that's,
Right.
you wake up in the morning like, oh, I got to go to work, versus you wake up in the morning and you get to go to work. And so being aligned with that, I think, is also an important piece. And so as a business, that's something that we do. We hire and fire based on culture. We are intentional to spend more time in an interview process to look for those individuals that align with our culture, because the what needs to be done, of course, we want people with good backgrounds and strong backgrounds and all those kinds of things. But a lot of that can also be taught. Of course,
Yeah.
one of the things we look for is smart people, but a lot of those things can be taught.
Rick's talked about this before. Grit, determination, hustle.
Right.
Somebody that wants more than the average. There's an 80-20 rule for a reason. And it's the people that are in the 20 that want to drive themselves to do more and win.
Right.
And do those things are the ones that you can teach anything to, really. Maybe not a nuclear physicist or anything, but for the most part, in an industry like ours, and to your point, 100%. I find it important to hire somebody on their drive and based on, their attitude and, the culture that they want to be in and they want to be around. Somebody that I feel would get along with the other people in the company and have the same goals.
Right. One of the things that I think is an interesting conversation to have is, you do have to maintain a balance of people that are, I don't want to say like you, and when I say you, I mean any one of us as a leader,
Right.
or within a business. Like, obviously, you want good culture fits and people that fit in, but there's some people that say, well, then you're only going to have that. If you never have any challenging to what your culture is or what your business is, what's your thoughts on that?
Well,
you got to have the opposing view and opinion.
I think that is a separate issue. Like wanting to have the same culture, like me and you want the same culture.
Yep.
We get along really well. You're, almost as funny as me and almost as good looking as me, but not, no, I'm kidding.
Right.
But we are totally different people in the scope of work.
Right.
I am like shooting from the hip, I'll try anything once type of deal. You don't fail, you learn a lesson, and you are, hold on, we have to research 8 million things and cover this, and you're
like 5 million.
yeah,
things.
you're like Excel reports, and I'm like, oh, cool. You got stuff filed, I file stuff in the trash, that type of thing. So we still have a lot of opposing views on different things, which I love,
Right.
because it balances both of us out, because we're both kind of extremes on the opposite way. That is different than the way that we want to come into work and the culture that we want to see.
Yeah. I think that's a really good answer. Of course you want people that are going to challenge you and help you grow, because great quick story, that they've tested when they plant trees inside of like a biosphere or whatever, they can grow plants and trees and all that kind of stuff. Well, what they've learned is that when you grow a tree inside of a like a biosphere type of atmosphere, controlled and biodome. There you go. Movie? Oh yeah. I actually just watched a Brendan Fraser biography thing the other night. It was a little interesting, because he was in that, right, with Pauly Shore. That was Encino Man.
No, that's Encino
We're
Man.
way off topic now. Anyways, a tree will go so far, but then it'll just fall right over, because what happens is, as it's growing, it has to have resistance and from the wind, and it's got to be going back and forth. And because every time that happens, it's a lot like your muscle when you work out. when the tree bends because of the wind, it actually breaks a little bit inside, and then it heals itself, and that point becomes stronger. And so when these trees grow in a perfect atmosphere, they don't have that resistance, that challenge, and they can't grow. And business and people are the same way, where if we don't have challenge and resistance, we're not going to grow. And so I totally believe in that. I think that you and I are a good example of that, where we do have some similarities, but we also challenge each other in a lot of different ways. But I don't think for me answering that question, no, I don't think that for us that is intentional to hire people that are going to be positive, people that are competitive winners, people that are go-getters and have that grit and those things that you mentioned. No, I don't think it's smart for us to hire negative people that are slugs that want to sit on the couch just to have that type of opposing view. I don't need that. You don't need that. We don't need that. And so you have to be intentional about what it is that you want to bring in. And like I said, from our perspective, we're very intentional about it. Are we perfect at it? No, absolutely not. I think from a culture perspective, I would love to say it's all sunshine and rainbows, but we definitely, we've had some hard knocks and things like that. Let's get into that a little bit.
Well, like anything in a growing business, it's going to be fluid, right? And when you can be on the same level and probably have it nailed in pretty good, but when you're growing, things change. You're adding new departments and new positions and, just getting to different levels. It's going to create problems where you have to kind of navigate through that. And, excuse me, as an example, right? So work hard, play harder. There are people that have come in and like, hey, I really like this guy. I think he'll fit the culture, but maybe you miss on the drive, right? Mm-hmm. And then they're here more for the play hard side than the work hard side. Well, the play hard side doesn't exist without the work hard side, right? Because all businesses are here to make a profit, right?
Right.
And so if everybody's just playing hard, we're out of business, right? So as an example, so like when you're trying to create a fun culture and different things along those lines, you have to watch some of those balances. That's something that we've
had some of those things where we've had some mishires. Like I said, we're not perfect at it. We've had some mishires where
nobody is.
Right, of course.
At 100.
And yeah, they were here more so, for the play hard side of it, and as we work to intentionally grow ourselves and grow everyone around us, it's not fun like you said it was. Well, how is it not fun? Well, can't sit around and play pool all day and whatever.
Yeah,
there's a time for that. There's absolutely, and for us, we set that time aside every Friday.
Friday at 3 o'clock.
Where that's a part of us coming together as a team and celebrating the successes and kind of regrouping heading into the weekend and all of those types of things. But on the flip side, we also have had immense success by following this pattern of making sure that we hire and fire based on culture.
Yeah. It's funny that you say that. I actually had an employee come up to me, and when we switched to W-2 versus 1099, we're like, hey, we got to come into the office, do some different things now. And they were like, well, you were saying that this is going to be fun and this and that. It seems like it's getting a little more corporate. And I'm like, you don't know what corporate is.
Right.
Right. It's one of those things where I'm like, look, man, like the work hard stuff has to be done, but we could still have a culture where we enjoy each other and want to be around each other and work together to win a specific goal for the company.
Yeah.
And then there's the time to, celebrate and do the things that we want to do that aren't necessarily work related.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I had somebody one time kind of similar conversation and saying, well, it's a little different than it used to be around here. And I was like, I know. And I was all proud of it. I know. Yeah. Isn't it great? And they were like, well, I'm just saying, it's not as fun as it used to be. I'm like, whoa, that hurt my heart because I knew it was my fault and why they were coming to me. And in their mind, and they're like, well, it's just, we used to get out there, hit the streets for a little bit, and then we'd kind of, all take off at 2 or 3 or whatever, go get a beer, have some conversations, or whatever the case is. And I think there's time for those, those kinds of things for sure. But he's kind of making it seem like that was a regular occurrence. And so I listened to him. I definitely wanted to hear what they had to say and listen. And then it kind of dawned on me. I was like, well, hey, because I knew that our performance had gone up the more we had gotten focused on some of our goal accomplishments and things along those lines. And I knew that this particular individual had started doing really well for himself because of that focus that he was learning. And I said, well, didn't you just buy your wife a brand new car? Yeah. Wasn't it a luxury car? Yeah. Didn't you pay cash for it? Yeah. I was like, that sounds fun. He was like, I mean, yeah, it was. And I was like, so are we maybe just maturing in what our definition of fun is? I never really thought of it that way. That's a good idea, you know. And so it was a great conversation and a great look. But you know, definitely whatever you focus on, you get more of. And for us, you know, rounding that corner of maybe being that team that in a storm era and on a 1099 standpoint, you work for a couple hours in the morning, and then you go out and hang out and kind of goof off the rest of the day, transitioning into having a little bit more structure. There's no storms. You got to work a little bit harder and those types of things. It would be easy to say, oh, it's not like it used to be. No, it's not. And we made the adjustment to make sure that we can continue to grow and thrive. Well, it's not as fun as it used to be. We got to make sure that we're in a good alignment on what the definition of fun is. And so those are good conversations.
Yeah. I think this goes back to like any time that there is a change in things or a shift in things, like it's always like, hold on, what's going on? Like, because people just don't like change as a whole. But once the change is shifted, everybody's like, oh, okay, this is cool. Like, yeah, hey, we're doing this now, but I'm getting a lot more of this because of it.
Yeah,
you know?
And that conversation was over a year ago. And that person has continued to thrive and has kind of reevaluated his definition of fun, and now he's doing really well. So it's fun to have those conversations. You know, again, on the hiring and firing side, based on culture, there's times when you can go through an interview process and, you know, we had a role that we were hiring for about a year ago. So, matter of fact, we were going through the interview process right now, and we had a lot of resumes come in with a lot of folks with a lot of great talent for a video and social media producer.
Mr. Durango Payne, ladies and gentlemen.
But that was something where we chose to go a different direction than there was two candidates, and actually one candidate that we was literally like minutes away from hitting the extend.
You had
an
the
offer
thing completely
button.
typed out, but hadn't hit send yet. Is that correct?
I was literally getting ready to hit send, and I mean, this guy had all the credentials, and he was a nice guy. He was a great guy. I think he would have been a great fit, or I think he would have been a great producer of content and things along those lines. But then we did an interview, and we decided to go a different direction. Why was that? It's because Durango was a phenomenal culture fit.
Hold on, right? I gotta tell him. Durango thought, I don't remember what we had in the thing. Like whatever we said was apparently confusing enough that Durango thought he was applying to make a music video or a rap video or something. Some sort of music video,
wasn't it? Or was it a rap video? Let's make a music video. Let's make his dreams come true. We'll make a music video.
We'll make a music video. So he gets it, but then he realizes the horrible mistake he has made and applied to a roofing company as their producer.
He thought he was going to raise the roof, and it was like, no, we put roofs on.
We raise them every day. But he came in, and I'm not sure if he had the same amount of experience as the other people, but he had the drive and the attitude and the willingness to learn, and even made a little video for us, which nobody else went out of their way.
Like as a follow up to his first interview, he was like, "Hey, I just wanted to make this little commercial for you guys. Here you go."
Yeah, exactly. So I knew we were going to hire him in the interview, but Adam has a firm rule to never hire in an interview. So,
absolutely.
So he left, and then I think we sent out the letter the next day.
You were like, just hire him now. I was like, no, we're not hiring now, dude. We're going to lose him. Just hire him. No. But I called him later.
I don't know. I don't know if any of that's true.
Yeah, we fist fought in the parking lot.
Like
it was
Peter
crazy.
Griffin and the chicken.
Yeah. It was terrible. But Durango's here and doing a great job for us.
Thanks, Durango. And Durango has thrived for us. He's done excellent. He's blushing and smiling right now. So yeah, that's fine. Anyway, we'll move on.
So on the fun side, to talk about those points, fun, competitive winning. Let's go into the fun side a little bit. So we've got a pretty awesome game room that's continuing to grow. Like we're wanting to change things up and not let things get stale, and so we'll move some games either in or out or make rooms for make room for new things.
Yeah.
But why did you want to do that originally? Because when I first got here, there was a couple of like stand-up arcade games, like a Golden Tee and a.
Well, I think we had the Multicade, Golden Tee, Silver Strike, and darts. I think was the only. At least
exactly
I know that's what was in the old office.
Yep, that's
by the end of it. You know, originally we do a lot of different events and things. Like relationships are super important in our business. I think they're super important in any business. But we do a lot of events and different things with realtors and insurance agents. And I was like, you know what? One, I want to have fun. And two, I want to be able to host events for, you know, these different people where something where they'd want to be. Like, man, this is really cool. Not just like, oh, come over and like we'll stand around, you know, the office and talk
awkward,
type.
The awkward like gathering.
Exactly. Like come over here and have fun and be like, man, I really had a great time at IRC. Can't wait to go back. Can't wait till they host another event. I better send them a bunch of business and stay on their awesome list.
Right.
You know, and so that was one, and that was probably the primary catalyst. And then, you know, like I said, I wanted to make it fun around here. And originally we were on 1099, which means you don't tell people what to do. They do their own thing. And if they produce, cool. If not, but we wanted to, you know, make it available to come into the office. We wanted them to be here so we could help them and make this a safe place to work and things like that. So we also made the game room available to them at all the times. So like, hey, if they come in, they want to work for a little bit and they want to get up, stretch their legs, play a game of pool with another guy or another gal, they can. So it was kind of multi-purposed.
Yeah, and like I said, it's grown into something great. You know, I feel like the real launch point of many of the games that we have now was in our old office, where, like you said, we had the Multicade, we had the Golden Tee, and the bowling thing or whatever, and then darts. But then into our lives came, I think, one of the greatest games. We don't play it much. We need to. But Battle Putt, where I think I won, I don't know, 1,000 games to your
1,000 games. It was like 50-50.
Absolutely not.
It was 50-50.
People are not going to watch this podcast or listen to this podcast with you telling these kinds of lies.
49-51 tops.
Not a chance.
So anyway, if you guys have seen Battle Putt, like it's basically beer pong with putting.
Look at his face right now.
Yeah.
That's how you know that I am the true champion of Battle Putt, because the look on your face as you begin to explain. I just don't want to call
you a giant liar face on the podcast. You know, I'm trying to be, you know, nice about this, like PC about it, but
in fairness, so we don't play Battle Putt that much anymore. Now we have a pool table, which you're like the freaking Rain Man of billiards, and like got all these calculations going on and everything.
I'm not that good. I'm just way better than Adam. Like way better. Like, I don't know if he ever saw a pool ball until we got a pool table here. He was like, what is this funny game that you have here? That's a 98-2.
Yeah.
And so even if, let's hypothetically say you won a couple more times at Battle Putt, right? 98-2.
I have absolutely beat you.
There's not even close to the comparison there.
Aaron Joseph Christie.
Oh, middle name. Here we go.
I have absolutely beat you more times in Battle Putt than you have beat me in pool.
Maybe, because we played more games.
Yeah, I don't like playing pool with him anymore. It's not fun.
Let's go to percentages.
It's not fun.
Let's go to percentages. You're top 60-40.
Okay.
Tops.
All right.
All right. Anyway,
I guess we'll never know.
We're off topic.
We should have hired
so.
Durango sooner.
Yeah. You know what? We got to break it back out. It's sitting out there.
We will. But with
live on air Battle Putt.
Oh my gosh. A Facebook Live Battle Putt?
Live Battle Putt. Or we'll record one and Durango can stick it in an episode and he'll have to vouch that it was a truly like unedited.
It's going to have to be like
game.
Uncut. 2 cameras, uncut.
Yeah.
I love that.
We'll do that. Anyway.
But in the game room, we've been able to do some fun things too. We've hosted a ping pong championship.
Yeah.
Which didn't go well for us.
Yeah, but
Well, we knew it wasn't.
the guy's a national tennis champion, and
Don't say that.
yeah, but Paul's Paul.
I know it's facts, but don't say it.
Paul's Paul. You know, he was just one of the better guys in the office.
I actually feel really
because
bad
he played
about
as
that.
a kid.
No, Paul's pretty freaking awesome at ping pong, but
Not
the other
compared
guy's
to the other guy.
Yeah, that's a freaking professional tennis player. And we put Paul in a bad spot. I still feel bad
but
about
it was
that.
so much fun.
It was.
And so like we've had some events. I think we're planning a Monte Carlo night for some realtors up here, and doing a couple different things like that. So it does, again, kind of double play into those things that you can use them for with relationships.
So those are some of the things that we do inside of the office. Let's talk a little bit about the things that we do outside of the office to continue on both the fun side and the reward of being competitive winners, making sure that we give accolades and accomplishment. So a couple things. Well, I guess this is still in the office, but one of the things that we do for our team members is $1 Million Club for those team members that sell over $1 million in a year, which continues to elevate, which is a fun reward.
We've done charity kickball tournaments together. I think we did a charity dodgeball tournament. We do training in Gatlinburg as a company every year, which is not just training, but we focus on personal growth because, you want to say it?
Businesses don't grow, people do.
All right. We do some business training, but then, we break it up and have fun in the middle. So that's based off of a Revolt owners group that I was in, and I loved the way that it is because you go from like 7 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Those are long days.
But it doesn't feel like it.
No.
Because you have that gap in the middle where you're having a blast and your adrenaline shoots up. So there's a lot of different things that we do.
Everything that we do is kind of wrapped around engagement and relationship. So that's the word that you said just a little bit ago. And I was glad that you kind of gave the caveat, yes, relationships like with business partners and realtors and insurance agents and everything are important here, but really relationships, are important in every aspect of our business. And we try to bring our team together as much as possible and as much as it makes sense. Without it being annoying and silly things, and yet silly things.
Yeah.
But getting the team together, and I think that that's an important piece, especially we're 3 years away from really when COVID hit now, and there's still a lot of businesses doing work from home, and that's cool. That's great.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that I realized for me, probably as an extrovert, was like I can't do this much longer.
Right.
And so being together in an office where we can kind of come together, even if it's just going to lunch, one of the things that we do with the operations team is every second Friday of the month, we go out and just have lunch as an operations team together.
Yeah.
So there's lots of things that we do to bring the team together versus just, I know there's a lot of companies out there that do rewards and recognition, which is great, and it should be done, and it needs to be done. If you're not doing it, you need to do it. Rewards and recognition are absolutely key for your team members. But doing it in a way that brings a team together, I think, is the key.
Yeah.
You had already left the corporate environment by the time COVID was launched. You were already into the roof sales and all that kind of stuff. So you didn't even have to go through the struggle per se, did you?
No, and what'd they call it? We were a necessary business or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
That's not the word, but anyway, we never stopped.
Mm-hmm.
So when COVID happened, I was just like, this isn't so bad. Besides, I got to wear a mask, which is annoying. But other than that, like, the world never stopped for me. So I don't know the pain that some of you guys had to feel. But I couldn't imagine being trapped in my house for 3 months. I would lose my shit. I would go bananas.
It was rough, and I don't know. We don't need to make this necessarily about COVID or anything along those lines. The point of this is being together and connected as a team.
Yeah.
And so, yes, you have the work from home, but even in a business like ours, where most of it would be 2 two-thirds of our employee base is where they don't need to be in the office.
Right.
But we still do things, and we still have some requirements of coming into the office, and some of that is just to be together as a team.
Yeah.
If you want to have a winning culture and a winning team, you got to be together. In my opinion, in our business with the size that we are,
Right.
Totally understand. We'll probably get somebody in the comments that'll talk about, well, we're a 40,000 person company or whatever. It's not possible. I get it.
Yeah.
But you should still also try to get together with your local team. There's probably more of you in your city or state, and get together, be connected.
Yeah, I feel that's super important too. When it comes down to certain things, there's guys that have felt more comfortable like coming to talk to me about stuff and things that have mattered, either professionally or personally. But conversations that I deemed very important. That I think if we didn't have the culture that we had, they probably wouldn't have felt open enough to come in and have some discussions about. So
I agree with that. At the end of the day, we're all human beings, and we're all people. We work to make a living, of course, but we're all people, and to care for one another, I think, is one of the most important roles that we have while we're on this globe.
I agree, and I think it's shifting. I think it's shifting a little bit because we're getting a younger generation that's coming up, and that are starting their own businesses and different things like that. By younger, I'm counting me in that because I worked for older people, and now I'm the guy. But I see a lot of different businesses on social media and things that are doing things together. I saw groups that they did workout challenges together, 75 and these different things, and they're going out to do events together, and they have fun stuff in their office. And I think and I don't know if that's just because, we're softer than like my great grandpa that would like just go and just all day and not, which I'm sure it probably
it's a little different than the Industrial Revolution. Where just go in, punch the clock.
But I do see a shift, and I feel like people are probably happier now, with that type of environment than they would be with, something that's just hardcore all day, nonstop.
I agree.
So,
what about, in a culture, I'm interested in your opinion on this, but within a culture, that people always talk about work-life balance, which I think, I'll save my opinions, but I will say that those lines have been blurred probably more than ever because of COVID and work from home, and depending on what type of role that you have and all that kind of stuff. But from the play harder side of things, you do have to make sure that you strike the right balance. So what do you think on that? Because I love being with my family. I know you love being with your family.
Yeah.
But how are you getting that balance?
So I think that's a really tough line for some people to differentiate. I know where mine is because I will literally do anything that I have to do to maintain my lifestyle and support my family and do whatever. Just, whenever I started the company, I was like, I just didn't care. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 hours a day, whatever I had to do. But as it's a little more relaxed and we partnered and we got this other stuff, like I don't have to do as much. So now my balance is going the other way. There's still a lot of goals and things that I have that I want to do that as soon as we jumpstart those, they'll shift back this way. Right. So I kind of I go with the flow on where they need to be. I do believe that you have to have some, unless you're just like a year balls to the wall, whatever you got to do, like that's cool. I don't think you can do that for 10 years, or you should do that for 10 years. I think I was listening to
you don't think you should do that for 10 years,
right? Yeah, just nonstop.
Right.
I think that will be a detriment to you as a person. I think it was Andrew Frizella I was listening to that said that, like, basically fuck work-life balance. Like, you go in and you work until you get whatever you need, and then you enjoy your life to an extent. But I disagree slightly, because if that takes 10, 12, 15 years to get there, I don't think that's good. So for me, it's my personal balance on on where I need to be, how much I need to do. So what about you?
I know I agree with that. I think it comes down to sprints. I always say, first of all, I don't know that there's such thing as work-life balance. I think it's work-life integration. How do you mold those together? Because a lot of our waking hours are at work, and so there's got to be some integration. That's why a lot of the things that we do, I actually invite my family up here, and obviously my kids are up here a lot, and so is my wife, and I enjoy that, and they
a lot of the people actually,
will bring their kids, and which is, we love it.
Yeah,
we had I loved it not too long ago. My kids were going to have their friends over, and they wanted to watch a Monday Night Football game or something along those lines. And I was like, What do you guys want to do? And they're like, can we go to the office and watch it? I'm like, yeah, for sure. So we ended up bringing some pizzas up here, and them and like 5 of their buddies just played games and watched. Had Monday Night Football going on the Jumbotron and had some fun. So I think that level of integration is cool when you can have it, and I certainly understand that it's not always available to be had, but when you can, to try to do it. I think the other important piece is you kind of got into who I am as an individual and making sure that things are structured. But I think you have to structure time with your family. It's really easy, and frankly, I was guilty of this in the past, of just working too much. And anytime the phone rang, answering it. Anytime I got a text message from someone at work, responding immediately, no matter what was going on, what birthday, what Christmas party, what church service, or whatever. And I think that you do have to take some times to unplug. Now, granted, I think that, again, there can be sprints where it's like, hey, and my wife and I, we talk about this, but hey, we've got to have, right now, for example, we're trying to hit a goal for the year end, and we're having a pretty good sprint, and they know that I'm pretty focused and all that, but then that relaxes. Right. And it can be, these
so
sprints.
It's a bit cyclical based on what requirements are. And
these sprints could be a week long, they could be a month long, they could be up to a year long, depending on what's needed. But to make sure that there's structured time at the end of it, I think is key.
Yeah, I 100% agree with all of that. So,
one of the fun things that we did here recently is our annual Christmas party, which is always a lot of fun.
That was bananas.
It is a Thursday.
Yeah.
The Christmas party was last Friday.
Yeah.
I've yet to have a day this week where there hasn't been multiple conversations as I walk around the office, not to me, but just like going on as I walk into the room or whatever.
Yeah.
People talking about how awesome it was.
That's going to be like, you always want to top the one before. And it's like, what are we going to, I got to start planning now.
Yeah, we got to get to it.
What the hell we're going to do. Because, man, that was a blast.
Why do we do it? For you, why do you do it?
One, I want something that people are going to look forward to. I want retention here. I want people to be happy with their jobs, which is why we do everything else. We have the culture that we have, but I want one thing at the end of the year that they could really look forward to. That's just awesome and better than, any other company that they would ever go to. And then just, I love seeing the enjoyment, everybody having fun, everybody interacting together, everybody winning prizes. For me, it's rewarding in itself to be able to do that. So, yeah. What do you think is the best reasons for those type of deals?
I agree with you in everything that you just said. The Christmas season is one of my favorite times of the year for a lot of different things, but I always get real reflective around this time of year, getting into typically a little bit before Thanksgiving, because that's when I go hunt and I get a lot of thinking time in and all of that kind of stuff, just me and in the woods with my own brain. And so I take a lot of stock of things in that time, and then obviously you roll into Thanksgiving, and then you roll into Christmas and New Year's. And so I really do enjoy this time of year. But, I think having the ability to live out that Bible verse actually that talks about being better to give than to receive, that's something that's near to my heart.
Yeah.
But then also at the same time, what I love about our party is it's not an employee only party, but it is what we actually just talked about a little bit ago, is having that integration of work life where, there's a lot of friendships, not just with the people that work together, but with the significant others of the people that work together, and then their significant others. And I think that that's really special, and I think that that's it makes my heart smile to see those types of things.
Yeah, not only that, because that is cool, by the way. You see, a lot of the wives and people all together talking like you can tell they know each other. They're friends.
Yeah.
They're not just making
They've been
casual,
texting.
awkward conversations.
Yeah, they had been texting each other for weeks. What are you going to wear? And, all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. And
They don't do that, do they?
oh, it's, yeah.
They talk about. I thought only you did that. I was like, what are you doing?
Well, yeah, I always text you, hey, what are you wearing?
Yeah, what are you wearing? But no, we actually get to bring in like outside vendors and appreciate them as well. So people that don't go to Gatlinburg and do these events with us, but our suppliers and our lawyers and all of these other people that do a lot for the business. It's a way to honor them as well. So
some good recognition for those individuals.
Yeah, 100%. Durango, you got to pop in some footage here because this thing was sick.
Yeah, it was cool. So just to talk a little bit about it,
if you put me in singing though, you're done.
I'll hit the send button. It'll be okay. A lot of beeps on that one though.
All right.
No, it was a lot of fun. So, our setup this year was just to give you guys an idea, and yeah, you'll see some clips and that sort of thing. But we wanted to. So let me rewind a little bit, or maybe it's actually even fast forward, because today we had a meeting, our typical weekly leadership meeting, and in those leadership meetings, we always want to hear from the leaders on what they're hearing from their teams. And so one of the things that we talked about, actually the thing that we probably talked about the most, was the Christmas party. Not just how awesome it was, but what were specifically the things that worked and went very, very well.
Yep.
And what were the things that, this could have been a little bit better. And so we always do that debrief conversation, which I think is really good. We did that last year, and we were able to I think, one up from last year.
Yeah.
We did that this year, and we'll see what happens. But, being able to, so some of the feedback that we got even before we said what the party was going to be or whatever, and this was actually something that my wife started getting texts from significant others, wives and things like that, and even some of the ladies that work here in the office is, hey, do you know what the Christmas party is going to be like? No, I haven't heard anything, and I was just like, don't say anything. You and I hadn't even begun to plan it at that point in time.
Right.
Is some of the finer details. We had some of the gifts and things along those lines, but the kind of consensus was, well, we want to get dressed up. We don't really get to dress up very much. So we're like, all right, cool. We'll do a night where we can kind of dress up a little bit. Not required, but if you want to. And I loved that. At the party, the people that wanted to dress up, I mean, there were some people dressed to the nines.
I enjoyed that too.
Yeah, I did too. You looked awesome in your red jacket.
So I was laughing there because several people were like, "Oh, nice red shoes," either sarcastically or actually carried.
Well, it's because you don't allow anyone to wear red at all. I'm surprised we even are allowed to have red Solo cups.
It's Christmas themed, man. One day a year. But
you got everybody nervous.
I bought them for the American Heart Association ball, and I was like, I'll never wear these again. And then you were like, hey, everybody wants to dress up, and I was like, all right, cool, let's do it in Christmas colors.
Oh, that's why you were stressing on the
I was like,
colors.
let's do Christmas colors because I got some red shoes that I can wear for the second time.
Yeah. So that worked out really good. So again, we do this based on feedback because we want to make sure that people are a part of something that they want to be a part of. Yeah. But then what we did was we had a casino night.
Yep.
Which was a big hit. I really liked how we did the casino night, and we assigned dollars. Now, we assigned dollars based on performance. So if you were a top performer, you got the most chips to start with, and then middle, and then so we did kind of 3 buckets, which I think was really, really cool. But then based on their winnings, we went into a white elephant, and we stack ranked them into this white elephant contest, if you will.
So anybody could get the best position there because maybe you're a great gambler or you just got lucky as hell.
Yeah, exactly. And then it also, we obviously got some some gifts that would, you would think would be more guy oriented, and we got some gifts that you would think would be more girl oriented, and then you kind of get to let them sort it out and fight for it, as opposed to somebody being like, oh, I don't want this or that or whatever.
Yeah, like they can steal it.
Yeah. So it worked out pretty good. My favorite part was one of our scheduling coordinators, Janessa, getting the dirt bike.
Yes.
Which she picked up immediately the next day
Yeah.
and took it riding, which I loved.
They went riding, and I think it was her first time riding, but she had somebody with her. My favorite part.
She said she wrecked it a couple times.
Yeah,
already.
she flipped off of it, I think. So my favorite part is Mark wanted that dirt bike bad. He's one of our sales guys. Wanted that dirt bike so bad. And then Janessa stole it from him and locked it in. Mm-hmm. So he went up and picked a new gift, and it was via envelope, and he ended up with the Louis Vuitton purse.
Oh, man.
And he did not want that thing.
No.
But another person did, Chelsea, our accountant, but she didn't even notice that it was picked. She walked right by it. So I've been harassing her all week because she's like, I'm getting that. And then she walked right by it, wasn't paying attention that it was already picked and missed it.
Yeah. Gotta be quick. Gotta be fast.
Gotta be handy with the steel.
So it was a lot of fun, but gave away a lot of prizes and things like that, and again, just kind of back to that recognition, and with a twist on how we do it. We did some contest winners that evening as well to do some recognition in front of the significant others and guests that were there, and it was a really special time. And then of course, one of the best parts I think was at the end we had an entertainer come in from Vegas. We flew him in from Vegas.
Vegas night, baby.
Yeah, it was Vegas night, and sang songs for us, and kind of had a little dance floor up there at the front, and just had an awesome time.
Yeah, it took a minute for everybody to get going because they were talking so much, which I can't really be mad about because they were enjoying each other's company. But eventually, the music lured them in. Right. And then we had, I think Paul lit that fuse. He got up on stage.
Paul's going to be dancing.
Yeah, Paul lit that fuse, man. He got up on stage and did a whole song, karaoke, and then I think Mark did one. And by the end of the night, we had 25 people on the stage singing the farewell song.
Yep. It was pretty special.
Yeah, that was awesome. So anyway, culture, I think that's a huge part of it, but also that was a big play harder right there. Like, it was ingrained into the things that we're talking about, but deep down you're just like, man, I really enjoy this. It's good stuff. For sure.
It's as we want to talk about on this, the importance of that play harder side.
Yeah.
And this is that. And now it's really cool because now you get to see, a lot of the gifts, like we gave away a go-kart and a motorcycle and some other things where we've already gotten videos and pictures of those team members using those with their family. And now they're kind of living out this play harder side of thing in that regard. And so to kind of keep that going as a mode of ever expanding influence, this thought, this idea of and concept of working hard and playing harder is just, I think, something super special.
I got a video of Greg driving that go-kart around with Bluetooth. I'm going to send you. You can pop that bad boy in here, too. It's got Bluetooth.
His kids off to the side, like you can tell, like, Daddy won't let us ride.
He's like, can I get it right? He's like, no, I'm not done yet. But I'm sure they eventually got it right. But if not, they got a good time watching him drive it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying, Greg. I don't know if you helped him or not. But
culture is super important. Hey, one of the things that I want to make sure that everyone's aware when it comes to culture is make sure that it's on purpose. Schedule meetings to figure out what your culture is. Because let me tell you this, and I've said it before, I will say it every and any time we talk about culture. Your business has a culture. Whether it's on purpose or not is up to you. But your business absolutely has a culture. And the difference between good cultures and bad cultures many times are the businesses that decide to have an on-purpose culture, and we're going to steer and we're going to direct. We're not going to be perfect. We're going to steer and we're going to direct towards what we want our culture to be versus the businesses that just let their culture happen amongst itself.
Yeah, and this is our culture that we've chosen, and it doesn't have to be yours. Just have an intentional one that fits what you guys want to do, what your goals are, what your plans are. But it doesn't have to be anything. But as Adam said, just be intentional about it.
Yeah, if you don't pick it, it's going to pick you. And most of the times when it picks you, it's more of the, hit them with it. Now you're going to have to kill it. It's going to go again.
Will it? Nope.
Oh, it worked perfectly.
Once again,
awesome.
Aaron Christie is right and Adam Kaminsky's wrong.
We'll edit that little part out. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode. We really appreciate it. Make sure that you like and subscribe. Let us know what you're liking about this. Let us know what you want to hear us talk about. We've got some cool things continuing to come up on the circle of life with a business and some cool guests that we're going to begin to get in here in the podcast room. So
I think was Snoop our first official guest?
I think Snoop might have been our first official guest.
All right. Yeah. Just throw something out there, man. Give us something to talk about. Wing it, but we appreciate it. If you did watch the whole thing, it's probably because of me, I'm sure. But no, I'm kidding. I got to bust his chops. I love this guy.
Mom, make sure you put a comment in.
All right. We'll see you guys on the next one.
Next time.